You look unusual.
It's the first time anybody ever said that.
You keep pretty much to yourself, don't you?
I want you to forget me, please.
Forget? How? I can never be more far away from you than this.
Hello my beautiful darlings, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having an amazing day and thank you for watching. Today we're going to talk about the Queen of Hollywood herself, the true screen siren, the ultimate seductress, Elizabeth Taylor. And you know how much I love talking about old Hollywood. I have a full playlist on old Hollywood and how seductive and how amazingly feminine they are. And I always analyze everything that made them so feminine and irresistible. I already did Marilyn Monroe, Audrey Hepburn, Rita Hayworth, Ava Gardner, Grace Kelly, Dorothy Dandridge. And I did also a lot of different ones from different movies like Angelina Jolie, Monica Bellucci. Like I have full playlist on this. In case you want to see, I will link it below. But today we talk about Elizabeth Taylor. This is one of the biggest actresses of all time. She was a true star, especially in the 50s and the 60s. She was also a true sex symbol, really a bombshell, beautiful bombshell, and a true legend. So if you want to know how she managed to be that feminine, that irresistible, she was a true seductress. She had 8 marriages. So we're going to talk about everything that she did wrong, she did right. We're going to talk about her life, her style, and everything that made her so iconic. So if you want to know more, keep on watching. But first, just wanted to let you know that if you want to see more of my content, I talk about fashion, femininity, old Hollywood glamour, as you can see, also seduction, dating, and anything to make you become a true high caliber woman. Feel free to join the channel, the link is down below. Also follow me on my Instagram, which is at Lisa Hardstyle. So Elizabeth Taylor is, for me, the Queen of Hollywood, the Queen of old Hollywood, and even Queen of Hollywood nowadays. All of the actresses and even the movies were truly something else, and she is the most long-lasting superstar. Everybody know her name. She was one of the most popular classic Hollywood star and is still considered a screen legend. Elizabeth Taylor was born in 1932 in London. Living in the country with animals when she was younger, she really loved horses especially, and her mother was very particular with her education. She really wanted her to have good manners and to really be a proper lady so she could marry a high status man, so she could marry well. So she took dance lessons, and that really gave her this way of moving in a feminine way, this really beautiful posture, and all of the things that we can analyze in her movies. I think her dance lessons and all of the mannerism that her mother taught her really had an impact on how she was acting on the screen. So she played in movies really young. At 9 years old, she started to play in movies, so they were really interested in her unusual beauty. Then she auditioned for the movie Lassie for the biggest studio at the time, which is MGM, and that's when she became famous. And she started to become really famous at a very young age, actually. She was very nice and very sweet, you know, a little girl, and she was taking acting classes with MGM. She had a compassionate nature, very thoughtful, humble, and very talented actress at such a young age. She got a lot of attention, a lot of pressure also. It is very hard at such a young age to be a huge star, to be acting, to be working so much at such a young age. She missed a lot of things. She said later on that she had no childhood actually, because she was constantly acting, constantly having pressure. When she grew up, she started to be a little bit more feminine, a little bit more glamorous. Of course, she wanted to emphasize her femininity, and she started discovering her love for jewelry. We all know how much Elizabeth Taylor and jewelry, it's a love affair, and actually she wrote a book really later on about her love affair with jewelry. That's why I'm wearing so many jewelry right now. It's a tribute to her. Like, she was wearing so much jewelry and emphasizing her waist and wearing beautiful dresses that were more womanly. And her mother said something really interesting that I saw in a documentary. She said, it's not what you look like on the outside that counts, it's what comes out of it that determines if you're pretty or not. Which I think it's really true. Actually, the aura of the person, the charisma of the person, and everything that comes out of the person is way more important, and it really says more about if you're attractive or if you're pretty or not, rather than just the exterior. Sometimes you see beautiful women but they don't exude anything, and then you see someone that would be a little bit less pretty on the outside, but her aura and her charisma would be so much that you cannot take your eyes off her. And for Elizabeth, it was actually both. She was both beautiful and having this magnetic aura. If we talk about her style, she was a true style icon. Always very elegant. I really love her style, and I think I'm really into her style mixed with Sophia Loren and Marilyn Monroe, and I love all of their style because it's very glamorous. It is still elegant, still beautiful, feminine, and it always emphasized the feminine figure. She had heart neckline dresses, so that the kind of heart neckline like I'm having right now. She had a full bust and she didn't hesitate to emphasize it with like some little cleavage, but always in a tasteful way. Always emphasizing the waist area with even some corset to even more like emphasize the waist. Her style evolved throughout the year because she was also a bit influenced by the style that was really on trend. You know, for example, in the 50s it was more of the A-line cut dresses, and in the 60s it was more of the straight line cut dresses and a bit more tailored, a bit more Jackie Kennedy kind of vibe. But really she never cared about the opinion of others. She really had her style, especially about the jewelry and the amount of jewelry that she was wearing. She didn't really care, you know. Some people would say it's too much, and she loved it. She didn't care. She had her own style, and I think that's a true icon here. She was really into the more is more. Beautiful, extravagant gowns.
Why all alone? Being exclusive?
And everything. The most extravagant thing, I think the most extravagant style is Elizabeth Taylor, because with all of the jewelry that she was wearing and all of the beautiful extravagant gowns that she was wearing, she had corset gowns
In blue?
necklaces with emerald and diamonds and everything, the biggest stones you can ever seen. She had a tremendous famous collection of jewelry that you can never imagine. It's the most beautiful jewelry you can ever imagine that all of her husband offered her because she had a true love for it. And I agree with her on that. I truly think that emphasize a woman and that truly make you look absolutely fabulous. A lot of extravagant fur coat, tailored coat, anything that's just a very fancy. A lot of chiffon gowns, the kind of gowns that you have that are very flowy. She doesn't have this kind of sweet princess vibe that I would have, for example, Audrey Hepburn, but she would have this more of a queen vibe.
Is the victory of a cat on a hot tin roof.
Just stand on it, I guess. Long as she can.
I think she was the best actress possible to play Cleopatra.
What I feel, I should have felt long ago, when I was very young. When I could say to myself that this was how love was.
Nice extravagant accessories with hats, fancy and delicate shoes, always in heels, a lot of sandals, or when she would have flats, she would have a lot of ballerinas. It was really on trend back in the days. In her casual time, she would wear a lot of tailored pants, cardigans, a little bit of tops, you know, shirts, some nice shirts, feminine things. You could see her also in a casual way with floaty sundresses. But during the evening, that was the queen arriving. She was so extravagant with elbow leg gloves. Actually, I should put on gloves. Here, I put on gloves. I know, this is so extravagant. Like those kind of gloves with long extravagant dresses when she was going out at night. Super, super elegant, fancy, and she was even wearing tiaras like a true queen. A lot of headpieces, a lot of tiara, a lot of beautiful ornaments on her head as well. So her hair was short and voluminous and having a lot of curls, especially in the 50s, and in the 60s it was more straight but still very voluminous. Straight and voluminous, or straight and longer. As she got older, her dresses were less glamorous and she got a more conservative style, and a lot of dresses with long sleeves, but she stayed extravagant and glamour her whole life. Her makeup was really focused on the eyes because that was her biggest asset. She's famous for her eyes because she has such a strong, deep eye contact. So everybody said that she had violet eyes. It is very famous because she had such hypnotizing eyes, and I think also it has to do with the fact that her eyes are hooded. You know, hooded eyes are very more intense in their way of, you know, looking. It's just having this intense look immediately. But when Elizabeth Taylor is looking at you, you are feeling like it's just her eye contact is so intense, and so her makeup is really emphasizing that.
But it is a wonderful feeling.
She had a beautiful eye makeup that was really eyeliner and smoky a little bit, and to truly make it appear even bolder. In terms of lips, sometimes she had nude lips, sometimes she had red lips. She had also full lashes, like a lot of lashes, and full eyebrows. Her body language as well is incredible. She had this marvelous technique of hands, eyes, voice, movement. She was exuding so much charm and aura just by her presence and her body language. I told you always that body language can really change everything about the perception that people have of you. And in case you haven't seen my video about body language and having this seductive aura and being irresistible through your body language, I will link it below.
Try singing the number slower, Judy, more seductively. And a scarf might give you something to do with your hands.
She had those feminine techniques. She was so enchanting and beautiful. She became a sexy woman. She became a sexy siren on the screen. And in the movie A Place in the Sun with Montgomery Clift, it's really making her become more of an incredible icon on the screen.
I'm just fooling around. Maybe you'd like to play.
Oh no, I'll just watch you. Go ahead.
It's really there that she plays herself as a siren.
You look unusual.
It's the first time anybody ever said that.
You keep pretty much to yourself, don't you?
She had an amazing aura of seduction. She could seduce anybody. She had this presence. It has to do with her body language, her way of dressing, her way of holding herself. You know, when I see how she acts with like men, and when she said, you know, if you want me, you need to offer me diamonds and emeralds. You know, she didn't hesitate to have standards, to say that she wanted things. If he wanted her, he had to work for it. And that is a true confident queen here.
I want to be free of you, of wanting you, of being afraid.
That Caesar would not permit it.
And so in the movie Cleopatra in 1963, she is spectacular. She was born to play Cleopatra. I saw the movie last night. It is 4 hours of movies, but it is a masterpiece. It is a movie that you must watch in your life. Liz Taylor is at her highest level of femininity on this. Her entrance, if we talk about her entrance in Cleopatra, when she entered Rome, it is just the most extravagant and boldest entrance. Her outfits in the movie are out of this world. It is truly beautiful. You see all of the cuts and the beautiful dresses. She exudes the most femininity and sensuality and charm, confidence, queen energy, of course. She seduces Caesar and Mark Antony in a subtle way, and she has a lot of technique like a true seductress.
Am I to understand then that you feel free to do with me whatever you want? Whenever you want?
She actually had techniques so that they chase her. And if you want to see a video about Cleopatra, I would be happy to do it. Let me know down below. And they are both mesmerized by her, and it's for a reason. I was too. I could not take my eyes off her on this movie. Richard Burton was also mesmerizing. He's a true actor. They were both spectacular. Their performances were both spectacular on this movie.
I want you to forget me, please.
Forget? How? I can never be more far away from you than this.
Her body language, especially her eye contact, is truly intense. Of course, with the amazing eyeliner and blue makeup that she had, it emphasizes her eyes even more. And she married her first husband pretty young, at 18. She married Nicky Hilton. He was an heir from the Hilton family. After 4 months of dating him, they got married in 1950, and she was kind of ignoring the red flags of just his temper and kind of his way of being. And she filed for divorce after 6 months because he was truly not paying attention to her. He was gambling. I think he was also kind of a player. The second one was with Michael Wilding, which is an actor as well. He was extremely nice to her, and they got married in 1952, and they had a son together. It was absolutely her dream to start a family, to have children, because she had this very strong nurturing aspect of her. She was truly feminine in this way. You know, I think she was the full package, because she was truly sweet and humble and nurturing and very motherly in a way. At the same time, she could have like this femme fatale aura and sexy siren persona. She was very down to earth, a very good mother, very caring, very loving. She then also became extremely famous when she got in the movie Giant, which is a huge movie, but she truly proved that she is really talented. She had a lot of recognition as an actress.
She is a 5-time Oscar nominee and twice won the Academy Award for Best Actress.
Thank you with all my heart.
But the problem is, as much as she became a true star, her marriage with Michael was not going well. I think maybe because it has to do with the fact that she became a true star and she got more famous than him, she got more money than him, and as you know, it's really not the best. I think she really needed a strong masculine man that was really successful. It's so hard for a woman as successful as she is to find someone, because you know, you need someone that is on your level or even better than you as a woman, because a lot of men would be intimidated by her, or like she would not respect them if they are not on her level. So she got divorced from Michael, and then she met another Michael, but this time it was Michael Todd, and I think that's my favorite one from all of her marriage. He is a very strong character. He is extremely masculine, and I think that's what she needed. So he was way older than her. I think he was 49. I think she was 20 something. He was really funny, really bold, and really extravagant, just like her, and that's mesmerizing. I mean, he was really bold in his way of courting her. He was saying boldly, I'm in love with you and I'm gonna have you. Like, don't date any other guy, I'm gonna marry you. And he was a famous producer, and he produced a lot of movies, so he knows kind of how to be very romantic. So I think she wanted the va-va-voom of the movies. She wanted the romance, the passion, the extravagance, the boldness, and I think he could offer her that. He was truly generous. He offered her the boldest gifts ever. Like, he offered her a lot of jewelry. He courted her like really a lot for months and months, and I think she is a good example on that term, because she was kind of difficult to have. She was difficult to have, you know, she's Elizabeth Taylor, so she was like, okay, prove yourself to me, okay, court me nicely. Like, he did not have her easily. Like true masculine men, that's what they want. They love the chase, so they love to really work for that price, because the more they work, the more that price is valuable. You know, you have to really work to have Elizabeth Taylor, which is kind of logical. She was mesmerized by him, truly, because I mean, who wouldn't? Because he was so flamboyant, so bold and sure about himself. And in front of him, she was more relaxed. I think in front of him, she could be more relaxed in her feminine energy, which she couldn't with other men that she had before. Because if she was the true star and the big provider of the relationship, she could not relax in her feminine. But with him, because he was so bold and rich on his own and true masculine and like a successful producer, she could kind of relax in her feminine with him. He could handle everything. She was making him work, and she was saying to him, if he truly wanted her, he has to offer her a diamond and an emerald. And he immediately made the check. You know, he immediately paid for that. That's really rare to have this type of masculinity in a man that's just go for what he wants, and that is those kind of rare men that hypnotize every single woman. And they had this beautiful sexy dynamic between them, this kind of playful seduction between them that is really intense, and that's what she was looking for, I think. I'm kind of like this also. I love having this kind of tension, passion, playful attitude. He was a big spender, and I personally love it because, you know, our girls love jewelry. They match with their strong personalities and their boldness, and they love full luxury, and they love to travel. You know, they have a jet, and he named the jet after her, so it was the Liz jet. So he had a really big sense of humor. He was truly generous, and she had a third child with him, which was named Lisa. I know, her daughter is named like me. So in 1958, she played in the movie Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and unfortunately, even though that's my favorite one, and I was like so shocked about it, but unfortunately in 1958, Michael Todd died after a plane crash. I know this was my favorite because he had truly a gentleman, masculine character. During that time, she was really depressed. She had to finish the movie, and it gives the actress the second Oscar nomination, but she was really not in the mood, you know, and I think she was really in love with him. She found consolation with Michael's friend, Eddie Fisher. He reminded her of her husband. That was the closest person she had to remind her of her husband that she lost. So I think that's why she got with him. It's because she wanted her husband, she wanted Michael. But a romance started with them, and it was a scandal because Eddie Fisher was already married, and then he divorced of his wife, and they got married in 1959. She also converted in Judaism in 1959, but on contrary belief, it has nothing to do with men, and it has nothing to do with Eddie Fisher or Michael Todd, which are both Jewish, by the way. She said that in her biography. Actually, it's because she felt attracted to Jewish people, and she felt attracted to Judaism, and she felt a connection. She then had this image in the press of this irresistible seductress. With the movie Suddenly last summer, she imposed her screen Siren persona with the famous image of her in a swimsuit. Then her marriage with Eddie Fisher came with an end because I think she realized that he is not Mike Todd. And then what happened? She will play in the movie Cleopatra in 1963, and I think that's a huge thing in her career. That's one of the biggest movies of all time, and that's one of the most beautiful movies I have ever seen. Cleopatra is actually one of the most expensive movies in history that have been made, and if you watch it, you understand why. All of the decors and everybody, the costume. Then she met Richard Burton on the set of Cleopatra, and they immediately had an intense chemistry. And when you look at the movie, you can actually see that. You see their intense chemistry. You see how, wow, you cannot take your eyes off them. They are so good in this movie. I really recommend it.
If you noticed me at all in those days, you were probably terrified of me.
And with good reason. Everybody knows Romans cut up little children and feed them to their horses.
And apparently they had to say cut multiple times because they wouldn't stop kissing each other. But at the time, Richard Burton was married, so it made a huge scandal back in the days at the time also. So of course I don't recommend to do things like her, to go after married men. Like, she did a lot of mistakes in her life. I think there are things that we can take and things that we see are actual mistakes. So her and Richard Burton started seeing each other in 1963. She divorced Eddie Fisher for him, and Richard also divorced his wife, and they got married in 1964. She is quick in her marriage. But with her marriage with Richard Burton, it's the true love of her life, actually, Richard Burton, and she stayed with him such a long time, 13 years with him. He was extremely generous, and I think he was also the type of man that she's looking for. Very bold, extravagant, just like Mike Todd, generous. Richard Burton is the one that offered her the most extravagant and expensive and boldest gift. I think he offered her one of the most expensive jewelry ever. I think Onassis wanted to offer it to Jackie Kennedy, but when he saw the price, he was like, no. And then Richard Burton offered it to Elizabeth Taylor, and so they called it the Burton Taylor. So through him, she had a huge collection of jewelry, like diamonds, emeralds, all of the stones that you can imagine. I would die to see her collection. He had a big sense of humor. He had a very kind of sarcastic sense of humor, and they both combined their family because they both had children before. She was very loving to his children as well. She did a lot of movies with Richard Burton when they were married. Also together they had such an extravagant lifestyle. They had Rolls Royce, they had yachts, like tons of fur coat. They go to the party, private parties. But then in 1968, Richard Burton had a problem with alcohol, and he had an affair with the co-star. Her, Elizabeth Taylor, her movies were not as good. It was a lot of failed movies, and so she decided that she wanted to divorce in 1974, but then immediately regretted and they got married again. So they got 2 marriages, but unfortunately Richard remained an alcoholic, and after 15 years they finally divorced for good. So it was already the 6th marriage. Now on to the 7th. So she met John Warner, I think it was in Washington. He was a handsome politician, distinguished American. He had horses, he was very calm, way calmer than the relationship she had with Richard Burton. Because with Richard Burton they had a lot of fights. They were so passionate and so fiery, and they had strong personality together, and so they had a lot of fights together. And because they were both artistic person, because they were both actors, they had this tortured personality. And with John Warner it's just calm and simple, and I don't know if she liked it actually. I think that's her biggest problem with Elizabeth Taylor, is that she wants the firework. She doesn't like when it's too calm. So she got married for her 7th marriage with John Warner. Then he became distant. He became too much into his work of being a senator and politics. And she was feeling bad about it. She was feeling alone, very lonely. She felt isolated. She became depressed and she started drinking, unfortunately. After 5 years she divorced again with him, but afterwards she decided that she just wanted to quit drinking, and she got back on her feet and she went to a clinic and she got better afterwards. And I think that is a really big thing with Elizabeth Taylor. Every time she fell on something, she get back to her own feet, like she's a phoenix. She is extremely strong. It's not like Marilyn Monroe, really not as strong as Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor is a force of nature. She could just get through all of those divorces, everything, her health problem, because she had a lot of health problem. Her marriage are not finished. She got married again in 1991 with a guy that I don't understand why she got married with him, but maybe it was because she was lonely. He was a construction worker and he had no manners. He was not handsome, he was not gentleman. He's just like this guy that she met at the clinic. I think that's just because they had a similar experience and they helped each other, but it did not last, of course, because I think they had nothing in common. Also, I think he was younger than her this time. I noticed something. She always married husbands that were older than her, in her 20s, in her 30s, even in her 40s. But when she got older and she got married with this guy that was 20 years younger than her. So she had a lot of humor, by the way. Everybody that knows her, everybody that met her said that she had a lot of humor, that she was very down to earth and very approachable. She was very nice, very generous. She became an AIDS activist. She even created a foundation to help people. She was so invested in that, and it translates her character when you see all of those actresses that was really doing a lot of charity. For example, you see Audrey Hepburn, you see Grace Kelly was doing that also. It translates a lot of their amazing generosity, amazing character. At the end of the day, Elizabeth Taylor is a true beauty, a true icon. She never cared about anyone's thought and didn't need the approbation of people.
Hey, you're with me, kid, remember?
By choice only.
You're all alike, aren't you? Play tough.
I'm not like anyone, I'm me.
She just wanted to do things and she did it. She wanted to wear tons of jewelry on her. She does it. Still, she was a superstar, but still humble, still nice, still having humor, still, you know, feminine. She always followed her own heart, regardless of what people think. She remained the embodiment of beauty and strength, smiling a lot and a timeless beauty, and one of the best actresses of all time on a goddess level. I think I am truly a fan of her. I respect her so much. So thank you so much for watching, my darlings. I hope you liked it. I hope you like Elizabeth Taylor as much as I do. I hope you had fun watching a bit about like her life and her style and her true power of seduction. Feel free to subscribe down below. Also like the video and don't hesitate to follow me on my Instagram, which is at Lisa Her Style. Take care, and until next time, I'm giving you a lot of kisses. Mwah.